Alright, so I did my presentation on augmented reality, and the question I seek to ask was, does augmented reality propose benefits with regards to a person's perception of the physical world? Now, to answer this, we need to know what is augmented reality. Augmented reality is a composite view of a computer-generated object and the real world, and is across multiple sensory modalities including haptic, auditory, and visual. Now, the goal is to really bring the components of this digital world into our physical world. So this isn't to be confused with virtual reality, which is the implementation of a headset, which creates an entire virtual world. So my argument is that virtual environments do have the capacity to positively alter a person's perception of the physical environment in which they inhabit. Now, we see the common theme of perception in several of the stimuli sources, including extrasensory perception, in which sensors are used to essentially create these augmented environments so that we can more easily communicate information. Now, we also see this in olfactory perception, where we learn that we really don't know the reason why people learn things differently and perceive them differently inside their minds. And augmented reality really serves to combine the perceptions and make it as a medium so that everybody can see this in essentially the same way. And the thing about augmented reality is that it is already here today. We see this in things like Pokemon Go, IKEA's catalog, where you can put on a headset and visualize furniture inside your house. And by 2021, it is predicted to be a $215 billion industry. Now, some physical world perceived alterations for the user would be GPS. Now, with GPS today, how it is, we have a 2D screen, we look at it, and we get lost. We still get lost sometimes because it's really unreliable. But with a HUD, a heads-up display, we would essentially be able to never be lost because it would overlay the digital data over the physical world so that we would be able to see much more information in a much more effective way. And we would also see gaming. Now, gaming you would be able to play at an existential level. The popular culture games that we see today, a prime example being Fortnite, you would be able to play that in the real world. And management. Management would be revolutionized in industry. There's something called the Dublin Lab Cognitive Buildings, and this is where they essentially take data from sensors from all over a building, and they compile it into a layered database so that you can easily view that information. Now, another thing about augmented reality is that it can also be used as an engine of understanding. It allows the user to learn how to interact with the physical world at a much more immersive level. In a quote by Daniel Pacheco, a professor at the Syracuse University, he described it as a medium that removes so many of the variables that keep people from connecting. Now, this really is important because we have already started to develop things like holoportation, which works to digitally enhance video calls. So, with the current technology that we have today and phones and phone calls, we essentially do not have the capability to see the other person's body movements very well. Now, with holoportation, we would be able to utilize a notion by Albert Mehrabian, a professor of psychology at UCLA, and his 738-55 rule. This means that 55% of communication is body language. Now, if we could visualize a person in front of us as an augmented holoportation, then we would essentially be able to communicate more effectively across large distances, where we would not be able to meet with the other person. Now, there are also economic benefits, and these really fall under the category of three-dimensional thinking, and that goes along with advertising, because with augmented reality, we are able to make advertising much more memorable because it is very visual. And e-commerce. So e-commerce, we would be able to see the product in front of us as a visualization so that we can see if we want to buy it before we can see its functions before we want to buy it. And also in sports. Sports, we already use this to display logos on the field to indicate which down we're going through, and really this augmented reality helps us to communicate information that we would otherwise not have or would otherwise be obstructed. So, some concluding thoughts. AR is really a revolutionary technology. We are able to communicate like never before, and it is a revolution that comes on par with the internet, because with this new technology we are able to communicate in many new ways that we have never done before. And this is important because in a society where we have so much information to deal with, that we need a way to filter and to effectively analyze it. But as with any new technology, there are always going to be some implications, because naturally as humans, we become oblivious to what is actually surrounding us and can be absorbed into a fictitious form that is displayed on a screen or an artificial projection. Now, with these forms of artificial realities, we can be disconnected from reality, and we can start to be ignorant of our physical surroundings. And this also leads into the limited social reaction that we may have. Because as we already see in our society today, where we have phones, tablets, iPads, iPods, and this is really taking us away from the interaction that we have with other people. And to conclude, augmented reality may be the next great thing, but we need to watch out for the implications that it may have. And here are my sources.
All right. So, let me ask you a couple of questions. If you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to this issue?
Right. So, if I had more time, I would go deeper into the virtual environments aspects, such as virtual reality, because virtual reality is a big part of augmented reality. They could really go hand in hand sometimes. And it's really important that we analyze that too, because of its increasing prevalence in our society.
Okay. And how did you handle the different perspectives in order to reach a conclusion?
Right, so with the different perspectives, I essentially took the common theme through the stimulus sources of extrasensory and olfactory perception, and I took that and I built upon it more. So as each article I read, I would find a new thing, and then a new thing, and then I really just worked to synthesize it and create a product.
All right. Thank you.